Students, coming to the next topic in the subject that is the dynamic programming. In the previous videos I explained about one of the greedy methods. Now let us see the another method, that is the dynamic programming. So what is the main use of this dynamic programming? Actually you call it is a strategy. It is a strategy for designing algorithms. So to design an algorithms, we have to follow some strategies. So one of the strategy that we can follow, that with the help of the dynamic programming. Dynamic programming is a strategy for designing algorithms which is used when problem breaks down into recurring small problems. So when we go for the dynamic programming, the first thing, so whenever the problem, suppose one big problem is there, so whenever this problem breakdowns into smaller recurring problems, small problems, so then we can choose this the method of dynamic programming. So it means the sequence of decisions. The dynamic programming can be take the sequence of decisions. So in that sequence of decisions, it can take the optimal value, the exact solution that can be taken with the help of the dynamic programming. The strategy that it follows is it breaks the problem into smaller recurring problems and solve those recurring problems and find out the exact solution for that main problem. Okay, so it is typically applied to optimization problems. The main use of this dynamic programming is it is typically applied to optimization problems. So whenever the optimization problems are there, you can follow the dynamic programming approach rather than going for greedy method or some other algorithm technique. You can follow the dynamic programming approach. And next, in such problems, whenever these optimization problems are occurred, in such problems there can be many solutions. So for optimization problems, there can be many solutions. Each solution means each problem is having one solution. Okay, so like that. In such problems, there can be many solutions. So here each solution has a value. So find whatever the solution that you consider, that solution contains some value. Okay, value. And we wish to find a solution with the optimal value. Means the minimum value we have to be find out. Optimal value. Okay, so take the first the approach that dynamic programming is follows. It takes the main problem and breaks that problem into smaller recurring small problems. So for each problem you will get some solution. So each solution is having value. Okay, whatever the solution that you get for each problem, you will get some value. So we have to find a solution with optimal value, so which contains a minimum value, then that we have to be take. So this is the approach this dynamic programming can follow. Now let us see the elements or characteristics of dynamic program. Elements or characteristics of dynamic programming. DP means dynamic programming. So the first element, that is, take the simple problem, simple subproblem. So the first characteristic, simple subproblems. So here we should be able to break the original problem, that is the main problem, original problem, to small subproblems, that have the same structure. So whatever the original problem is having, the subproblems is also having the same structure. So that is the first characteristic. Next, second one. Next characteristic is optimal substructure problem. The next element of dynamic program is optimal substructure problem. So what is optimal substructure of problem? The optimal solution to the problem, so whatever the problem that contains, if the optimal solution to the problem contains within optimal solution to its subproblems. So just it takes the optimal solution to the problem, so that contains within an optimal solution to its subproblems. Now coming to the third one. What is the third element? That is the overlapping subproblems. So what do you mean by this overlapping subproblems? So there exist some places where we solve the same subproblem more than once. So in some cases we have to solve the same problem more than once. That you call it as a overlapping subproblem. Okay, so these are the elements of the dynamic programming. Simple subproblems, or it may be optimal substructures, or it may be overlapping subproblems. So whatever the elements that we have to solve with the help of this by following the strategy of dynamic programming. Now let us see the steps for designing dynamic programming algorithm. So what are the steps we have to follow for designing the dynamic programming? Steps to designing dynamic programming algorithm. So the first is characterize optimal substructure. First you have to characterize the optimal substructure in the given main problem. After that, recursively define the value of an optimal solution. So whatever the optimal substructure we have taken, that we have to recursively define the value for that optimal solution. And next, compute the value by using the bottom-up approach. And next, if needed, whenever it is needed, if needed, construct an optimal solution. So these are the steps you have to follow for designing the dynamic programming algorithm. Now let us see the applications of dynamic programming. The applications for dynamic programming are matrix chain multiplication, optimal binary search tree, next all pairs shortest path problem, traveling salesperson problem, traveling salesperson problem, and next 0x1 knapsack problem, and the last one is the reliability design. So these are the 6 applications, the 6 methods that are following the dynamic programming approach. So we can solve the matrix chain multiplication by using the dynamic programming approach. In the same way, optimal binary search, all pair shortest path, traveling salesperson, 0x1 knapsack problem, and reliability design. So these 6 applications will follow the dynamic programming algorithm. Now let us, in the next video, let us discuss each and every application clearly with an example and the algorithm. Thank you.